What's going on, guys? It's your boy Spudzie here, and today we're going to be discussing PvP. More specifically, what is the premier DPS pick right now in the current meta of Guild Wars 2? If you saw the thumbnail, then you probably already know that it is indeed my main class, the Revenant. When I say Revenant, I really mean Herald and Vindicator, seeing as how they have a ton to offer when it comes to the DPS role in PvP. Revenants are allowed very good mobility that is shared across all specs, seeing as how some of their best mobility skills are baked into their base kit. The reasoning behind why Herald and Vindicator are the prime DPS picks at the moment in PvP are actually quite similar, but do have some notable differences. Let's start with Herald. Herald is fantastic at the moment thanks to its great team utility and amazing burst damage. The Herald is able to grant its team tons of utility through the usage of their faucets, which grant boons on a toggle. Herald is able to give your team passive might and permanent swiftness without much thought, and that alone makes it super strong, seeing as how much mobility can be king in most PvP matches. Alongside this fantastic utility, Herald also has some really nice damage options, as well as burst setups. You have the elite skill on Glint that allows you to knock down multiple enemies, setting them up for a big burst window. All the abilities in Glint stance deal very nice damage and happen to all cleave. This means that you can deal a huge load of damage onto multiple targets at once, increasing the amount of pressure that you're able to dish out. Some of these abilities might seem hard to hit, but when you're fighting on a node, I can assure you that a few of these are going to land. The constant boon up time for you and your team, coupled with fantastic burst windows, makes it so that Herald is one of the best DPS picks currently in PvP. Moving on to Vindicator. Like Herald, Vindicator can also supply its team with some very useful utility. Alliance stance on Vindicator is what makes this possible. You're able to grant yourself and your team a decent amount of boons by using Alliance stance skills, but unlike Herald, that is not the only utility that you can bring to the team. Alliance stance actually comes with some very useful skills such as Condi Cleanse, Stun Break, and even healing for your entire team. But let's not forget the reason why this is so good. It's because you're able to do all of this without giving up any damage whatsoever. You are still that premier DPS pick, able to deal massive amounts of damage while still providing all of that utility to you and your teammates. Like Herald, Vindicator is able to dish out some of the best cleave damage thanks to weapons like Greatsword. If you want my honest opinion, I think if you're someone who is new to Revenant and wants to start trying out for your DPS role in PvP, I'd recommend starting off on Herald, seeing as how it is actually a lot easier and it can serve as a nice bit of a crutch while you still learn how the class works. Glint stance is very forgiving on the energy, and you will almost never run out of energy on Glint stance unless you have like 10 faucets that you're keeping up at all times. Please do not do that. But while they are not being used, you are pulsing boons to your teams passively, which makes it so much easier. Once you're more comfortable, go ahead and move on to the Vindicator, because you will actually have a lot more utility for you and your team. And honestly, there's just a lot more flexibility. In summary, both of these Revenant specs are currently being regarded as the premier DPS picks for PvP, and for very good reason. We are currently in a power heavy meta, which means that the Revenant is actually going to perform a lot better, seeing as how their main weakness is Condis. If you want a DPS that can provide boons for the team while still dealing that nice cleave damage, go ahead and play Herald. If you want a DPS who can provide other useful utilities while dealing just a bit more damage, go ahead and pick up the Vindicator. Both specs will treat you well in the DPS role and are some of the most flexible at the moment. With that being said, let me know what you guys think, and are you enjoying the current meta? What changes do you want to see, and are you excited to start playing some Revenant? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.